Let's see if it works this time. Okay, everything looks good on my end.
Yep. And I'm seeing it over on my monitor over there, so it looks
Okay.
like we're
We are
there.
live.
Really sorry, folks. What can you do? If we want to just go back quickly through introductions, it'll be fine. And maybe it'll work this time. I'm Katie. I play Dahlia. We both use she, her pronouns. Sophie, what about you?
I'm Sophie. I play Francesca. No known last name yet, and both she, her pronouns.
Matthias.
Hi, I'm Matthias. I use he, him, as does Live Erickson, who I play.
Elle.
Hi, I'm Elle. I use these are pronouns. I play Vic Delaney. He uses Cocos pronouns.
And Jim.
Greetings, folks. I'm Jim. I use he, him pronouns, and I shall be everyone else. Everyone and everything else that exists in the entire universe, probably. So we were just looking over our various I'm looking at an image I shouldn't be looking at right now. I'm back. It's delightful. We were just going over our various things for the franchise. We've sort of distributed a few more franchise dice that we picked up last session. We're going to now get into one or two more little bookkeeping things, not really major, but one thing is, do you folks want to have titles? Now, officially, you had Ned gave you these forms, and I said there were titles on them that you could then fill in later if you so desired. Perhaps it's a thing in progress. Perhaps they've not been filled out yet. But has anyone decided on titles they would like?
Yeah. I want to... I think I want the title Head Restorer. Because that's what Life does, right?
Head Restorer, excellent.
Oh, wow.
I'm trying to think of something that is just horrible, honestly.
Maybe actually Life uses says the actual proper title is Head Restorator.
That sounds even more badass. Excellent.
I mean, I was gonna go just basic tech support.
Yes.
I think I already said social media manager.
Social media manager. There we go. Excellent.
Can Dahlia's position be TBD, but then she just changes it every time we do something?
Works for me.
Like, officially it's to be decided, but she decides it every time, but it's something different.
You're the director of TBD. Excellent.
What's TBD?
So it's very, very much in flux. It's a very, it's very, we try to keep things fluid in that.
Yeah.
Excellent. Great.
We're agile now.
Yes, that's it.
We don't have titles.
So, as a reminder, when we get into today's mission, you're going to have the ability to use any of those dice that we've got there to augment your rolls. When you have to decide before you roll if you're using them, and that'll usually help bring things up. Usually, as just a reminder, I'll tell you when to make skill rolls. Also, I will call for stress rolls whenever typically anything weird or seemingly stressful or whatnot happens. Then we have these little tables that tell us what happens as a result and the resulting narration. One other mechanic that I just wanted to make sure that I hit on is that we're going to probably get into more this time are confessionals. which are basically it's basically a thing that allows the players to bend the plot and reality itself into pretzels if they so desire. The part of sort of the premise of Inspectres is there is this almost sort of the Office thing about it. There is this sort of reality show almost aspect a little bit, and that so at some point anyone can during a scene call for a confessional, and then they will just simply address the camera, address the audience, as though this is being recorded later, to give your character's thoughts on the situation. And you can use that to do a number of things. One thing you can use it for is to change something that happened in the past. The best example I ever heard of this was in a game where someone they were facing down found some demons in a place, and all they had were super soakers. Someone called for a confessional and said, well, thankfully, before we came out here, we decided to fill the super soakers with holy water. And then they went right back, and of course now they were able to actually have weapons that would work against the demons. Another way that you can do that, you can use a confessional, is to cause something to happen later. Generally, you can foreshadow something, basically. We weren't expecting X to appear or something. It's generally, when using those, it's best to sort of hint at it, because it's a question, whether it's going to happen or not. Largely up to the players. But we can sort of plan to say, okay, sometime before the end of this mission, this has to happen. And then there is the idea of giving a trait, a particular a characteristic to assign to one of your fellow inspectors. Now, that is something that again you may wish to sort of pay attention and lean into the X card on this one if need be, because this is a kind of thing affecting someone else's character. So this is obviously always a consent thing, but the idea is that you describe some way in which you're describing one of your fellow inspectors. If they then role play that trait at points during the rest of the mission, you get an extra franchise die at the end. And so that's just sort of a way of sort of incorporating and figuring things out about other characters, ways you can kind of influence that if you so desire. So that's something that's fairly cool, in that we can only have one confessional per scene maximum. So that's going to be how that works.
One confessional per scene per character, or overall?
It is actually one overall.
Okay.
So yeah, so we would not be able to, for example, have 4 confessionals in a scene from 4 different characters. If no matter who it is, if they use a confessional in a scene, that's the one confessional they can use during that scene.
I have a question before we start. So our skills, how like I messed up the roll and had to take a point away from the skill. How does that refresh? Does it change? Does it go back to normal? What happens with that? Right.
So that was the little adventure with the gremlins is something that I'm not actually going to count toward your stress. So we can just say that went away.
Okay.
However, from this point on, between missions, you will have to use mission dice that you earn to heal those.
Okay.
So there are, and I think you can also use dice that are in the bank if they're left over. But once you assign them to franchise cards, I believe they can only be used for that. I will double check on that when we get to that point to make sure. You might be able to mix and match it up a bit more than I'm thinking, but that's currently what's in my noggin right now. And so we'll kind of see how things go. But yeah, that's any damage that you take to your abilities is stuff that has to be healed. Like you can go on vacation, take a few days off, that kind of thing, is sort of to represent that, and then we burn dice that you've accumulated on that. And anything that's left over of mission dice, you can then add to grow the franchise, or in this case, grow your department. And so I think that's going to be the interesting part. Now, it looks like you got a bit more funding, or someone you've probably got a memo saying that since the incident with the gremlins, that you've gotten essentially 4 more dice worth of potential funding, and so that's something you might draw on. My other question is, what did you do with the gremlins? you just sort of kept them around as mascots? Did you dispose of them in some fashion? What happened?
Animal control probably takes care of stuff like this, right? I found a possum in my backyard once and just kind of shooed it into a box and called animal control, and they went and like brought it to rehabilitation or something. So, I bet they do the same thing with gremlins.
Yeah. That'll totally work.
Gremlins, possums, it's not that far away from each other
Yeah.
on the great animal food chain.
It shouldn't be a big deal. You ended up calling animal control, and they were a little. They seemed kind of nonplussed about it. They're just gremlin season, and so they took them off somewhere. We're not sure where.
Don't ask questions.
No. I just like to imagine that there's somewhere somewhere within, or perhaps just outside of city limits, there's a cryptid preserve somewhere.
Yes.
Where they keep these things. Just keep them near around. Just have a nice battery terminal somewhere where they come out and recharge on the regular to let them frolic and play and have a food source. In the meantime, so it's been about, we'll say, it's been maybe a week or two since that happened, and you've had a little time to settle into kind of what you're doing, your jobs. Probably things have been a little slow, I think. Have you done anything to change things around the office, or clean anything up, or move anything, or because a lot of stuff's getting stored down there?
Dahlia would have not gotten rid of the nativity scene, but would have tried to make it a little bit more organized so it doesn't scare the shit out of one of us again.
Can we drape some festive lights over it so that it's like...
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, you've got plenty of Christmas lights down there, and various other holiday lights and various things for a lot of different holidays, probably because they have it's where they keep for the.
I think Dahlia even sets up a motion light, like a motion floodlight down there. Yeah, just in the corner of the room, and it's like if someone moves, it turns on, but it does have that nice glow of like all the little lights.
So there comes a time one night on a Monday, and it's not too long before you are getting ready to close down, and I think most folks are probably in the back somewhere. That the door to the office opens, and the light kicks on, and you see Ned going, "Oh, holy crap!"
Oh God.
Hey, what is that up there?
It's a light, Ned.
Okay.
You
So-
okay, boss?
I assume I'm not dead, yes?
Not unless we're also dead.
Or you're a vampire.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think so.
I mean, I have a lamp and Life had just like brought this in. Natural light lamps.
So that's natural light, is it?
Yes.
Right. Yes. Okay,
Does
good.
it hurt?
On some levels. Right. Okay.
Okay.
Yes. Good. I think I understand. Okay. Good. Well, this was a good talk. And he turns around to go. He stops halfway through the doorway, and he's like, "Ah, yes. There's a thing.
There's
Crayons.
Crayons?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a problem.
The things you write with?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Life jumps up. Who's been selling the monuments? Are those kindergarten kids again? It's that time of year.
It is that time of year, but no. Old Mr. Stahl, who lives out on the edge of town over by the old crayon factory, has lodged a complaint, and he says that the he's seen the lights come on over there, and that and he, in the morning he has graffiti and crayon on his fence.
Why would someone so desperately want to go to the factory and make brand new crayons to graffiti someone's fence when you can just go get them at, like, the store?
It's a good question. And so this is, I think that since we're not completely sure what the deal is, that probably this department might be the best equipped to handle it. It was out by, it's out by sort of on the edge of things out there, and they've had sightings of stuff before, kind of in that area. I mean, it's been a few years, probably decades, but yeah, it's kind of technically within our jurisdiction.
And you just can't call the cops or something?
I did, and they took a statement, and they gave me a copy of it, and he just sort of takes out, he finds this piece of paper that he unwraps. And yeah.
Can you put it here?
Yeah, sure, certainly.
Okay,
He sets it down. And you basically, the statement is not written in crayon, even though I'm tempted to say that it is.
God, that was so good.
But but at the top, the officer wrote "Old Man Stahl," and STAHL, and basically is it's just sort of said, graffiti, where I told him that took a look around, didn't see anything, but and this was like this morning that they took the statement, and told him to call back if there are any more problems. And it's basically there is what's there on the statement.
Dahlia's like leaning over, reading it. Still just very obviously just confused why this is their responsibility.
It's a thing. It's not really certain exactly what the deal is, but he's said that it's lights, but he called in, and eventually he got transferred to me, and we talked, and he says there, the lights come on and off, and he hears the factory running, and that it's keeping his cats awake, and his cats really are the biggest problem the city will have, the bigger problem the city will have if this gets unresolved, because we do not want another incident like the cat run of 2014.
Oh, yeah. No,
Yeah.
the Facebook comments were wild.
Yeah.
Well, feline sleep cycles are very important. So the worst that's going to happen is, a ghost or something.
Maybe.
But the best thing is just we have to call an electrician.
That's fair. It looks like they did a decent job fixing up the power down here, though, so that's good. And so yeah, they'll probably be good. We really, we keep trying to put through request to see if the council will talk about setting a limit on the number of pets you can have in any one house. But until then, he can still run that cat ranch. So as long as he's got the cat ranch, we kind of need to make sure the cats don't get out of control.
Is the cat ranch on the same piece of property as the crayon factory?
It's right next. They're right next to each other. I mean, it's over on a hill. They're not that, immediately physically close, but the property lines are, that fence is right along the property line.
Okay.
So anyone else curious about what happened in the Great Cat Run of 2014, or?
Oh, it's not good.
You know what marathons are?
Yeah.
What if it was that, but it was cats and unplanned?
I see.
Yeah.
And I do a confessional here.
Yes, feel
Great.
free.
Okay, so
I'm ready for this.
I think it's pretty quick. Yeah, let's switch over to the confessional booth. Well, so that's a thing you got to know about Fran. At times, I guess this is like typical of tech people. They do get too curious. And I think that's it already. And I'd like to give you that trait, too curious. If you would.
So, are you good with that? Okay. So you have that trait. It is optional as to whether or not you want to roleplay it, but if you do, then you will get an extra franchise dice at the end of the mission. We can only one trait that can be assigned that way per mission, and so that's the one that we've got on this one.
Okay.
And I think that we cut back from the confessional, and you just to hear Ned saying, "And the fountain has never been the same since." It just was. They never got it all out. All of the. It doesn't work right anymore. So that's why they had to remodel.
Just this story's giving me a hairball. We should probably go.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So there you go. Let's see if you find anything out. Once you've got the report in, we should be good. And he's looking up. I do have one other question. And out of character. I believe Fran. I believe that Ned handed you the picture of the ant at the end of things, and I just wanted to know what did you? Yeah, because he handed you your form. And then also under it, the picture of the ant, and he said to file it. Okay. What did you do with the picture of the ant?
I imagine like her desk is really kind of ramshackle and maybe like a bit uneven, so she's probably just used the ant as like a kind of a flat surface.
Like as a level for your desk.
Yeah, basically.
So you've got it laying down. Either is it face up or face down?
Probably face up. I mean,
Face
let's
up?
just move aside and.
Okay. So he just sort of looks around the room, lost for a second, until his eyes land on wherever your desk happens to be, and you just sort of nod slowly, and then he turns and leaves.
Okay. Glad he approves.
When Ned leaves, Dahlia has like already sat back down at her desk. Is holding a white, very plain coffee mug that does not have coffee in it. It is like a mixture of Red Bull and Monster energy drinks.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And is just slowly sipping it and looks at the rest of the team and is just like, so should we like have an electrician on standby, or this is our first real assignment.
We've got Fran, don't we? I'm almost ready to go. My nail bed natural light bath is almost done.
I also find it kind of insulting to be compared to an electrician.
But-
How dare you?
You work with computers, don't you?
It's not the same. It's not the same.
But it's and I'm like on my 2 natural light lamps. It's like right, off, and off on. Like that's done with electricity, right?
Yeah, but I don't deal with wires or any light bulbs.
Apologies if you say we need an electrician specialist. I'm going to definitely refer to you, Fran. I just thought we had that covered.
You know what? I actually know a guy. I got him on speed dial, met him in the park one evening. Great dude. Really good trench coat. Said he was an electrician.
Uh-huh. Did you get his name?
I think it was like a Matt, something like that.
Hmm.
But I got his number if we need one.
And
He said he would do it on the cheap.
Sounds quite dodgy.
You don't seem like a trusting person, Fran. You should probably trust more people.
People I meet in the dead of night in a park.
It wasn't the dead of night. It was like 8:30.
Okay. Did he show you his trench coat or something?
He had a really nice selection of gold watches, but I wasn't in the market for one.
Okay.
Anyway, we should probably, check out this crayon factory.
Yeah. I mean, I will put my electrician skills to the use. Good use.
So, the first thing that I do want to ask is that this is where you can begin picking out equipment and stuff to bring with you. So are there any, we can go around. There are going to be tech rolls involved here, but that don't count toward your mission dice. So what the way that I run this is that generally anything that would mundanely be available, I don't really make you roll for. For items that are like top of the line, like things that exist but that are either expensive or hard to get, that you'd need to roll a 5. For things that are beyond the boundaries of what we commonly refer to as reality, plasma ghost trapping devices, arcane tomes that have actual working spells in them, things like that you'd need a 6 for. So what sort of, is there any stuff in particular you want to make sure you bring with you?
My 2 natural lights.
Those are fine. You don't have to roll for those.
I like to bring some old newspapers that have just been that I just kind of found on the desk that I've claimed.
You think I'm the only normal one.
Dahlia wants to bring holy water.
Okay.
But I want to just say that it's not real holy water. It's water from an Aquafina bottle that she said a prayer over.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Then you can just have that.
But to her,
labeled as holy water.
yeah, she tore the Aquafina label up and made a little paper label and taped it on it. It's just as holy water. But not it says holy H2O.
Oh my god. That's great. Fran's gonna be a normal person and take her laptop.
All right. Okay, so nothing we have to make rolls for. We should be.
I think though, Dahlia also has this fanny pack of magic tools she used as a magician. She's gonna bring that, but it's cheap shit for magic. Magic. What do you call tricks? Like
sleight of hand.
Yeah, so there's a like 10 scarves tied together, all pushed in there, you know, like a little thing of like paper roses. You know, it's like things you would get for a magic trick that she just has in a fanny pack.
Can I bring my big hunk of quartz?
You may.
You always
certainly
need
may.
a big hunk of quartz.
Oh my God. Excellent. Okay. Anything else you folks want to bring along, or is that going to be the? Is that the? Yeah, excellent.
Some cables. Can never
Okay.
go wrong with some cables.
Cables are good. Cables are good. All right.
Like a variety.
A notepad and 3 differently colored pens.
Oh.
I'm going to assume that a lot of mundane stuff, if you flashlights, thing like that. I'm just going to assume that you have them.
Yeah.
So yeah, this isn't going to be a gotcha thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Let's
All
do
right.
Yeah, I don't think of there's anything like super high tech or that Dahlia especially would even think of because never done this before. Just know what to do.
No problem. Okay, so you folks will head out. What means do you use to travel out there?
Do we have like a government issue car van?
Is there
or-
like a van that has a license plate that says for state use only?
Oh, something like that, yeah.
So I'm
Life is
going to ask.
strapping on his rollerblades.
So, for the purpose of determining the provenance of the vehicle which you are assigned for this mission, as Sophie was the one to first bring it up, I would like you to make a tech roll for me, please. This is.
Wait, I make the tech roll? Oh my god.
You're the tech person.
I know, but I forgot how many tech dice I have.
3.
Yes. Yeah, that's it. I was almost looking at your sheet and I was like, oh my god, okay. It's a skill roll, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I have 3 of them, so...
Okay, and that's a 4. So yeah, you've got a basic, and again, we can ignore the table results right now. Yeah, you've got a basic sort of government car. It's nothing. It's a little old, but it's not too big a deal. It's probably about like roughly station wagon-ish, I would say. So that's it's unmarked car, sort of dull off gray, off black kind of sort of ish color.
It says you have to include a negative or humorous effect.
Right, and like I said, we're ignoring the table results because this is an
Oh.
equipment roll.
I want to make a car horn that makes.
I
a
was
funny-
literally thinking that. Can it have a car horn that makes a funny sound?
You can totally have that if you so desire.
It's not like a, I don't know, like the clown car kind of. I don't know what the musical tune is. I'm not gonna try.
They're like, da-na-na. Oh shit, I can't do it. No. Never mind.
Yeah, I think we're thinking the same one.
So maybe it's like the first time you use the horn, you hear this kind of, and you realize that they had installed the horn in there for the last time they used this car in the parade, and they have just never remembered to change it back.
I love it.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
So you drive out to this. I think this is going to be. We're entering into the mission now, since we are. I think we're gonna. My first gauging of this is we're gonna try for 8 mission dice, but we'll see that I might extend that depending on if we end up with extra time or depending, might adjust it a bit. So you head out over hill and dale to the outskirts of town, where the old crayon factory is, shut down in the 1980s. Because they just basically started outsourcing everything to the bigger crayon companies. Big Crayon came in and took them out, basically.
Damn Crayola.
Curse you!
Crayola in a rose art world. That's a deep joke right there.
And you see basically these 2 structures as you're pulling up. The closer one is this rickety old house that's only like a single story house that has this big, high white picket fence around it. And beyond, up over on a hill, you can see further out the husk of the crayon factory. It's probably we're probably at the point that it is currently twilight, and so you see this. It's this old sort of dark brown red brick building way out there that with windows and such that you can see from here, but we will describe it in more detail as you get closer. So, do you want to? Did you want to? Are you heading straight to the factory, or are you going to stop at Stahl's place?
I like to stop at Stella's place just to like make sure that he knows that people are going in there, so he doesn't call the cops on us.
Okay. Excellent. And so you start heading up to the front gate there, and it looks as though we've just been raided. Hello. Hi.
Nice, thank you.
So you get up to the front gate, which there's a sort of a little it's kind of it's like there's a little sort of, is it a trellis? Is that the term I want? Sort of a little arch thing that you would normally thread plants through, except there are no plants in it, and just a little gate that you can open, and as you step through, and there's a little walkway, and you hear a lot of just sort of meow, 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 meow.
Dahlia's just like, yeah, those cats are definitely off their sleep cycle.
No one here's allergic, right?
No.
We'll find out.
You head up the path. You see that in the you see actually in sort of the back, you see these sort of around side, you see these like a couple of, like, actually I say a couple, it's more like half a dozen tabbies seem to be chasing each other right now. And head up, and you have these basically the old red front door, and mostly sort of very, very chipped white paint on the outside of this house.
How can we see the crayon distance in the, like, can we see the crayon factory in the distance?
Yeah, you can see it pretty well from here. And you don't see any lights on in there right now. You're not hearing anything from it. You just see the nice big sort of logo of Happy Crayons on above the front door. But that's all you can see from here.
Is it like really decrepit, or is it like it's in decent condition?
It's kind of crumbling. It's not. Yeah, I mean, the city is is done minimal stuff to keep it up. I think it's just mostly just, so it's not like about to fall apart necessarily, but it's probably not something that should be operated and used without being cleaned up seriously.
Are there any crayon drawings left over, or have they all been?
Not in here, but out on the outside. They're probably, well, actually, you haven't seen any yet from this side of the thing, so there might be some. The police report, he said the graffiti was on the out on the fence itself, the part facing the factory.
Dahlia is going to look at Vic and be like, you deal with the people. I'm gonna go look at the drawings.
Okay.
I don't like people.
And they're all right. Just, if they're like under the age of 10, don't really know a lot of words, believe whatever you tell them. She's just gonna walk off toward the drawings.
I was gonna follow a bit like, who is this woman? Where does she come from?
Okay. So you're heading off to look at the drawings. But so I assume that Yeah, then that we have Life and Vic just go ahead heading up to the front door.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm not here yet. I'm still rollerblading to the.
Oh, you're rollerblading.
You didn't get in the car.
Oh. And
What were
inside,
the 2 daylights?
directly inside of town, that wasn't an issue. Like I was as fast as this little van who has to stop at every intersection. But now the last few, so I'll be arriving quite soon.
All right. We'll see you soon. So Vic goes up to the front door.
Okay.
And are you gonna knock
Old-fashioned.
or ring the bell or?
Yep.
Okay.
Gonna knock.
Okay. After a minute, and then in response to your knock from inside, you hear.
Yes, I know.
And you after a minute, you hear what? Oh, no, hang on, just a second, hang on. And you hear like about three different latches opening, and you see this this old man wearing he's sort of pale gentleman, sunken eyes, and he's wearing flannel. Just opens the door. He just sort of looks flannel under a denim vest. I can't use words. He says, "Hey, what can I do for you?"
Hi, I'm Victoria Delaney. I'm from the Public Works Department. Were you here because of your complaint about the crayon factory?
Oh yeah. Damn thing keeps coming on at night and scaring the cats.
Yes, we've heard about that. We're very concerned about the sleep cycle of your cats.
Well, that's good. I'm glad somebody is. Those young officers came up this morning, didn't give a damn about it.
Yes, I read the report. They seemed not as concerned as they should be.
No, they don't understand. They don't know what could happen here. Sitting on a powder keg, a big fluffy powder keg.
Yes, no, I remember 2014.
Took me weeks to get everybody rounded up. They went, and some of the short hairs were never the same.
Have you been in the crayon factory recently? Is there anything that we should know when we're investigating?
Oh no, I don't go out there. Don't want to. I mean, it's just me here. I don't want to get hurt. And then what would happen to these folks? And he actually is. He just reaches off to the left out of sight, and he picks up the cat. He's now holding sort of black and white cat.
Yeah, Vic holds out a hand for the cat to sniff.
The cat is just sort of stares at it.
Okay.
He sort of looks up at you.
Have you noticed any patterns in the crayon drawings? Anything unusual?
I don't know. Half of it I can't really make out.
Okay. Well, we're just letting you know that we're following up, and if you hear noises or see people moving around the crayon factory, that's just us. No need to worry.
All right. Yeah. No, I went out and I went out earlier this afternoon with a scrub brush and got most of it off, I think. But the damn shame. I don't know what's going on, if there's just kids running in and grabbing stuff, but who knows? Thank you, but I appreciate it.
Of course.
Petting his cat, and and sort of petting the cat. He says, "Say goodbye, Zeus," and Zeus just sort of nods at you.
Bye, Zeus.
Just raises a paw. He nods and he closes the door. Meanwhile, out by the fence, I will say that Dahlia has come around to look at the graffiti. There is a bit of graffiti on there that looks a few different colors. As you're looking at it, I would like you to make an academics roll for me, please.
Okay. Sure. I'll do that. I have a 1.
Oh, excellent.
I get a splinter and I die.
Oh no! Have you gotten your tetanus shot?
No,
recently?
do you think Dahlia's gotten a single set
Is
of
Dahlia
like?
anti-vax?
She doesn't mean to be. She just isn't up to date.
That's a good question.
You need to wait for your government health care to kick in, and then you
Exactly.
can go and get all your booster shots.
Nice.
Oh goodness.
So the yeah, basically, let's see. So as you're looking at this, yes, and I mean, part of the way this works is you're free to suggest things as well. So if you like, I'll give you a splinter.
I think she gets a really bad splinter. Yeah, like
Okay,
she's rubbing
all right.
her hands across it, and this obviously Spitz probably isn't well taken care of. So,
So you
yeah.
see, you see this pattern, sort of this spiraling pattern that has been drawn on it, and you reach forward, and then you've like, as you reach forward, you're like pull back, and it's like, it's like the drawing bit you, and there's now this shaft of wood sticking through your through part of your hand, a bit. Not like it's not like a huge freaking, but it's enough that it's like it's sticking into your hand. You're like, ah.
Yeah, she's just holding her hand. I'm gonna die, Fran. It got me.
Please
This-
make a one die stress roll.
Oh no.
Oh god. Oh.
But
There
I'm
you go.
cool about it.
Okay, you're gonna gain a point of cool.
How?
And
she looks at
scratch.
Fran. Does it make if I'm tough about it? Does it make me seem cool?
so,
Yeah. Just walk it off. Walk it off. It's fine.
let me tell you what cool dice do. It's more than just it's essentially a way that you can ignore the certain the lowest die. For example, you've got one cool die right now, one cool point. So a few things you can do with it is you can basically use it to ignore whatever your lowest die is on your stress rolls, which can come in handy. So right now you're immune to one die stress rolls, as long as you hold on to it. You can also spend cool dice to augment any skill roll if you want, but of course at that point then the die is gone.
Mm-hmm.
You can spend cool dice during the game to remove stress-related penalties. So for example, if you get a -1 to something, you can just spend that cool die and then you'll no longer have a -1 to it.
Okay.
And so that's basically how that works. I think, yeah, and it's a thing that you can hold on to between missions and what have you.
Okay,
if you
awesome.
end up with it at the end. So you get so yeah. Francesca basically come around. You do that below, and she just sort of shakes it off. Also, you see this weird sort of spiraling pattern in like 3 different crayon colors on the side of this fence. More or less at this point will be Vic can probably be finishing up Kosa's discussion with Old Man Doll. And was there anything else you wanted to do here at the doll residence?
Don't think so.
Just ready to head over. Just jump the fence.
All right.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is, as you are doing that, we're going to you will see that as you jump the fence and you're looking out and the sun is setting, you see a couple of lights in the factory windows blink on. And I think we're actually going to take a quick break, yes?
Yeah. We're gonna take a quick 5-10 minute break. We'll be back to figure out what we've just gotten ourselves into. So we'll be right back, folks. everybody, we're back. Yeah, give it over to Jim.
Hey, so yes, welcome to Crayon Land. Before you enter, I'm going to say that after the with those few minutes that you took checking out the side of the house and talking to Old Man Dahl, that in that time, that just as that's finishing up and you're getting ready to head to the factory, we'll say that will be probably when life is wheeling up.
Yeah.
And
It's a white lab coat on rollerblades, basically.
Did you bring non-rollerblade shoes with you?
Question.
someone do a confessional and take away his non-rollerblade shoes.
Yes, exactly. Right. That could just be a confessional.
No.
Which is
No.
you want to.
I will say there is about to be a scene transition, so if anyone wants to get one in for this scene, then now's the time. But,
I don't think I would need to bring other shoes, right?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, just zip around the floor of the factory. You're fine.
There's no
Yeah.
stairs.
Yeah, there won't be any problems. None whatsoever. Excellent. So you see this as you get closer to this building. It's a fairly tall building. It has, like I said, sort of old crumbling brick construction. There's this little sort of. Do you take the car to its to pull up to the front or the back?
Dahlia would have walked.
Okay. Yeah, you can walk there from here. That's no big deal. It's definitely walkable distance. There is there's a lot, there's a parking lot, and then there's where for the employees and what have you. Also a bay where to the side where trucks would pull in to bring in equipment and carry off boxes of crayons. Presumably. So there's that in the side, and then in the front you have the main doorway, which has, like I said, a couple of very basically it's a red and a blue crayon on a big sign above the door. They are anthropomorphic or personified sort of icons that they've created for the Happy Crayon Company. Of a couple of very happy looking crayons just sort of looking like they're skipping along. I will say you have been given the key that on your way out of City Hall, you were handed the keys to this factory, so you will be able to get in because the city had them.
You said the lights are on now.
Yes.
Does Dahlia see any motion behind those lights? Like shadows moving or something in the windows? Any kind of motion?
Okay, so you're trying to perceive this. You're sort of looking around, and this is actually where I'm going to call for another academics roll from you.
Yikes. Okay. Skill.
Okay, not great. GM would decide your fate, but you may be given a chance to suggest a single positive, albeit minor, effect. So what sort of, but I actually give even more narrative control to folks on this. So what not great thing seems to be happening, perhaps with a silver lining?
I think that I think she sees something, but she doesn't believe it. Like, she's completely, so much so that she doesn't even say anything to the rest of the group. Like, it's just like she completely makes herself think it's just a trick of the eye.
What do you see?
Oh. So, I think she sees what in her mind, because she just looked at that logo of these anthropomorphic crayons. It's a really big crayon in there. But she doesn't believe it. No,
Excellent.
she's making that up.
No, there is not a giant crayon walking around in there.
No.
That would be silly.
silly.
So what are you folks doing?
Are we? I really, really want at this point just a quick cut over to the confessional booth,
We can do that.
but not for me actually.
Oh
Oh,
no.
what? Oh, you want to?
I just want to have that shot, Dahlia looking at the camera, not saying anything, and then we cut back.
We can do that. We can do that without using up a confessional. That's fine.
That's-
She looks over at life and is like, it took you long enough.
yeah, the hills between city and these outskirts here. It was really good though. So crayons. Oh, we used to have these as, like everybody in town. Like I think they even supplied the schools for free with them.
Does this town not have crayons anymore, like at all?
Oh,
I don't
we do, but they're imported.
Oh.
Yeah, but when Big Crayon came in, that
Gets you
Yeah, it
every
used to be
time.
that. Yeah, it used to be that, elementary school kids, we get like tours of the crayon factory. Every year was like this big thing. You'd get to pick out like a crayon from the factory floor to take home with you.
anyway, shall we,
That's so funny.
Little crayon.
shall we have a look and see who left the lights on? And I skate to the front door and basically open it for everyone.
Okay. So you had the key, I guess. Okay.
That's all we had to wait. We couldn't go in
Yeah,
yet.
that's
We
why I
had to wait.
Because life had the key. You go up, you unlock the door,
Yeah.
and you open. It's one of those. Glass doors. That opens up. And as you do, you actually. It's strange because this should not be the case. But you hear the beep of a door alarm, of the kind that you have to go in. You'll have to go in and enter a code. They told you this was no longer active, however.
Yeah, so I think I opened the door to this whole thing where I'm like, everybody can come in now, and then the alarm goes off, and I'm like, oh.
If there's like an alarm pad, maybe try like the year the company was founded.
Yeah, I skate into a pirouette, and I'm like, numbers, computer, Fran.
Oh, this sounds kind of stressful. So,
Not
Life,
me.
I would like you to do a 1 die stress roll, please. Oh my god. Okay, you get a point of cool.
That's my pirouette, right?
Too cool.
You're
And
good.
delegating is an electronics problem, obviously.
I'm not an electrician.
Yeah, but you know how to. This is technology, computer thing. You should be able to fix it, right?
1901 is the year it was founded.
Okay.
And the pad goes dark.
Are the rest of the light?
that-
Like, did the electricity go out?
Nope.
Did that work?
Did the lock click or?
It's not beeping anymore.
Yeah. No. The you're inside. I mean, you can get in. But, yeah, it basically just stopped.
Good job. Yes.
Good job, team. Pat yourselves on the back.
It's really Vic we have to thank here. But
Is there anything in here that like matches the graffiti that was outside of Stahl's home?
So you have a short hallway that leads into kind of the outer sort of the welcome area. And this is where they used to lead folks in, groups of school kids, that kind of buses of school kids would come through here. So it's really sort of a glorified sitting room. But it's got sort of on the wallpaper, you have once again the happy crayons, and they're like in you have all of the 7 basic colors of crayons that they throw in a box typically, 7 or 8. Is it 8 crayons in a box? I'm going to say it's 8 because for some reason I'm remembering that. Yeah. So you have like these anthropomorphic crayons on the walls, and you're just sort of looking around. And you see a little bit of you see a little bit of more of those spiral sort of things drawn in a few places on the walls, and there's like a bunch of overstuffed furniture in here. There's a welcome desk, and there are a couple of hallways leading off from this entrance. And the lights are on.
Lights on.
Purple always scared me.
Why purple?
Oh, purple looks kind of mean looking.
It's my
The
favorite
purple
color.
crayon on the wall is just going.
I think it's the teeth. I don't think they need to give them teeth.
Especially not human-looking teeth. That's very strange.
Oh, it'd be scary about teeth.
Well, they bite you, Fran.
I think it's just scary in general.
Oh, are you alright, by the way? And I look at your hand.
Oh yeah, by the way, this is blood. Just blood. Just not even thinking about
cool.
it. Yeah. She just looks down at it and she says, I'm cool.
You were bitten?
In a way, the fence attacked.
No. Has anyone got a first aid kit? We should probably sort that maybe.
I bet there'll be one on the floor of the factory.
Yeah, that's
Wait.
like fire extinguishers.
Yeah. Dahlia's gonna start walking toward where like the floor of the
Yes.
factory would
Okay.
be.
Yeah, let's walk towards the main factory.
All right. So you go into the little hallway. There's kind of something leading to restrooms and stuff, and like a break room, and then on the other way is actually any of you who have been here before, perhaps in childhood, might kind of remember that the other way. It's past some offices, and it's actually as you're turning down past the offices, you start to hear this sort of hum. Coming from up ahead of you where the factory floor is. And it's sort of like...
Is that machinery?
Sounds like, yeah, kind of.
Okay.
And either that or it's several thousand people just under in some kind of sub-basement going... It could be either one of those, potentially. Probably machinery, but you never know.
Could be anything here.
It could be. As you proceed, I don't know if you're going to check out any of the offices, but the offices are there. But past the offices is the sort of a bigger sort of entrance into the rooms that are on the factory floor. You have a number of different areas in the factory. You've probably by now passed on the wall. They have safety maps that kind of show what the different areas of the factory are. You're going to first be passing through where the vats are.
Can Dahlia try to put that map in her memory?
Put it in there.
Yeah, like I don't know if she'd have to roll for it. She's not the smartest person, but
Yeah,
she
how
wants to
many-
like
how many
she wants to
can
make sure
go
that like
through?
she knows at least basically where they are at all times.
I think that it would be it'll be more fun to make these as roles when we're trying to make use of that knowledge.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
But
and,
you studied it at least. Yeah.
yes.
I
But you
did study it. Whether it works or not, we'll
You
see.
have a basic understanding of the layout of the factory at this point. Well, there are areas where you've got, and I will detail these for you if you like, as far as just what it said on there. But you know,
I figure it's just a basic factory layout, but if
Yeah.
needed, someone's at least attempted to look at the map.
there are like 6 major areas, and then there's storage, and then the loading dock.
Okay.
Am I being too disruptive if I say Life's already skated off to basically survey and do around the whole factory floor thing?
Well, so Life, as you head out, you see you're out looking around at the at these machines. There's a lot of factory here. So you've got you first are going to pass by these large vats that and so the first thing you're going to see is these vats, and you hear kind of a bubbling sound coming from them. And then my question is, are you going to stop for anything, or are you just going to keep going? Okay. So
I'm doing like a scan survey run through the entire thing to see what's up.
Yeah, so there are machines here, and the ones that you see, the machines you see are kind of, for the most part, at rest at the moment. The vats seem to be operating, the wax vats. But you know, you see a machine for where they have the molds and the collectors, and where they affix the labels, and where they collate the crayons, and where they box them, and conveyor belts and stuff. And the conveyor belts, the conveyor belts at the end seem to be running right now. But and then then you see there's an area with storage and the loading dock, and you see all of that, and nothing looks out of the ordinary except for the couple of things that are turned on that you saw.
Yeah. So I think on the far end, I skid to stop at the control panel, and I peer looking over the control panel and all the buttons there.
Trying to make sense of the control panel, are we?
No, I'm like this close to just pushing the big one.
Oh,
it looks like it's going to turn the conveyor belts off again.
Okay, are you going to push it?
I don't know. Is anybody going to do a confessional and have an opinion, want to comment on what I'm doing there?
I'm just going to let you do it.
I think now is the time then for you to make a tech roll.
Yeah.
Should let a tech person do it.
And I just want to turn the conveyor belt off.
All right, make a technology roll, please.
Yep.
Oh, is that the... Oh, hey. Okay, so amazing. You're going to gain 2 franchise dice, so you've advanced some on this. And tell me, what happens? What amazing thing happens when you press this button?
I think the amazing thing what happens is I press the button, the conveyor belt stops in a rumble, right? It's like, and as all of you are coming in, you can like clearly see down the lane that I'm standing there, and one of the side doors opens, and the crayon that you saw in the window comes waggling in, not appearing to notice me or pay, like giving me no credence at all.
Yeah.
Looks over the control, turns it on again, and then leaves.
Excellent. I have a very important question for you, Matthias.
Yes.
What color is the crayon?
It's purple. That's why I'm not doing anything.
So yeah, it looks like there a large purple crayon goes back and is heading back, and I'm gonna say that Yeah, as the rest of you are coming into the factory floor, you kind of hear as of a door closing.
So I gotta ask. I think I need to roll, despite it being a 6.
I think you
need
should
to
roll.
roll
Yeah, I need
stress.
make a 2 die stress roll, please, for me.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that, stressed. So you're going to lose a die from an appropriate skill.
Yeah, let's lose the tech die. I'm not touching anything in here. It brings about purple crayon.
Dahlia is just like stage whispering. What are we supposed to do with that? Is there anything moving on the conveyor belt? Like, are there crayons on the conveyor belt?
Not yet. You see that the only parts of this machinery that seems to be operating are the wax vats, which have a bubbling sound coming from them, and the conveyor belts where the boxes are supposed to come out, but there's nothing on them right now.
Do you think that maybe they just want to make crayons?
So you're all three still at the far end?
Yeah, Dahlia hasn't gotten any
just-
closer.
Yeah, nah.
You got into this one on your own, bud.
You gotta get out when you're in two.
This is a big crayon.
Oh my god.
So the door behind the crayon closed, correct?
Yeah.
How big is the crow? Like, relative, like feet. How many feet tall is it? Do you guys?
What Life saw was approximately, I would say a good head taller than a person.
Okay.
And actually did have what would have had I don't know, probably I'm guessing it was only a 2 dice stress roll, so Life was probably not looking at it too much. But it had arms and legs.
Life closed his eyes.
Sprouting from the sides, yeah. And,
We should if Life pushes that button, it comes out, right? We should trap it.
How should we trap it?
I don't know. I didn't get that far yet.
You have the scarves.
we can when it comes out, we can close the door, and like when you can hold this end of the scarves, I can hold this end of the scarves, and we can
trip
just,
it.
Yeah. This plan works.
What if it gets back up again?
Just pointing.
Here's my big hunk of
Pointing my
quartz.
pig. And then didn't Life have the lamps? We can melt it if it's
Oh,
dangerous.
yeah, that's a fair point. Actually, that could work.
So Dahlia is going to walk over to the doors where the big crayon came out of, and motion for Vic to come with her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's
cool.
like a back
Come
office area, sort of a back room area that's closed.
Co will hand off Co's big hunk of quartz to Fran. Just be like, okay, this is for you because I'm going to be holding one end of the scarves. So
Okay.
you take this.
It's
And
a lot of responsibility, but okay.
Such a plan, how can you possibly fail?
Shut up, Jim!
this is a good plan, and I will hear nothing bad about
This
it.
is the best
Of course.
plan.
It is the
I
best
have
plan.
doubts.
Yeah, so Dahlia hands Vic the other end of her scarves, and then just looks over at Life. I know it's traumatic, but push the button.
It's okay.
Just close your eyes and turn around. You'll never know.
Okay.
And that's what I do.
So, as you're pushing the button, it's actually, you notice the one of the vats is starting to tilt, but you press the button and it stops. This metal door opens. And is anyone actually looking at the metal door?
I would imagine like Vic and Dahlia are probably like waiting until it walks past them, so they're keeping an eye on it because it's got to get past us before we can do anything to it.
All right.
Fran is like with, I think, Dahlia, and like standing behind the door and ready to like run at it with this, like jump it, just like.
God, this is the best plan.
So you see coming out from the darkness of that office, sort of back area, this very large sort of silhouette of a crayon-shaped thing, sort of pointy top, as this comes trundling out, and it is a large anthropomorphic purple crayon, seemingly, that you're starting to see, maybe. It's the back. The back is not as well lit as the front, so you can't make it out completely what it is that you've got here. But that's roughly the shape of it. So you're kind of tensing, getting ready to pounce on this thing. Well, you're pulling the scarf right taut so that it'll trip over it at the right time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm going to need. So here's how generally actions like this work. Is that since this is both happening at the same time, this could be considered one person helping another. We could do it that way. So one person is leading, or I could just have separate roles from the both of you. It just really feels like a team effort thing, this one.
And we're helping each other.
Yeah.
They're helping each other. So yeah, I'd like you each to make an athletics roll for me.
Okay.
I've forgotten how many athletics dice I have.
Well, at first, I'm just going to need it from
Vic and Dahlia.
Okay.
Vic and Dahlia.
Ooh.
Okay, so Dahlia is Dahlia and Vic. Okay, so Dahlia, it's starting to look good. So you're going to gain a franchise die from this. Tell me a good thing that happens when you do this.
They managed to trip the crayon without any of us getting hurt, like without it falling on us or something bad happening. Yeah, we managed. It goes off without a hitch.
Okay, so the crayon sort of begins tipping forward and is probably going to fall over. Then Vic, you have a fair result. It's a mostly positive result, but it must also include a negative or humorous effect.
Yeah, these are trick scarves. So as I'm trying to pull the thing taut, like we trip the crayon, but all the scarves come unknotted.
Excellent. All right, awesome. So this thing sort of falls over, it's like and skids across the floor. And the scarves kind of explode into smaller scarves as they're drifting down. And so you have this crayon, this giant crayon, just sort of like trying to get around on the floor down there.
Fran, hurry up! Knock it out!
Yeah, so Fran's gonna like
come over and try to clobber the crayon.
Yeah, like probably jump it and like just smack it around where the head should be.
Please make an athletics roll.
Oh god.
No. All right, I've got two dice for athletics, so.
Oh, excellent. That was a stress roll. So go ahead and do a skill roll. The stress rolls are coming.
Yes, now.
Okay.
There we go. Good.
Okay.
So this is the thing that gets you another franchise die. What happens?
I knock it out, but I'll probably like pull out the quartz and take out like a chunk of crayon wax and just smash his head.
Dahlia just goes, "It's beautiful."
And you pull back, and it's like you're you've got crayon blood on your quartz there, which is perhaps slightly disturbing.
It's okay, Life. We got him.
Yeah, I feel like Fran should make a 2-die stress roll because of this, because we've never seen crayon blood quite like this before.
Wait, are you serious? Yeah.
Have you seen crayon blood before?
This is basically this is like crayon material, wax with the consistency of blood.
Oh,
There's something terribly wrong
It's,
here.
it's like
And it just
melted
came out of a
wax.
person's.
I hate
Yeah.
that.
That just came out of a person's head. There's something very wrong here.
Life is staring in horror at Fran.
I think Fran's staring in horror at the rock and then looks up at everyone else and then back to the rock. And then,
Did you like spray it all over your face?
I don't know. Does it act like that? A consistency of blood, I would suppose.
A bit, yeah. It's like a weird sort of mix between blood and crayon. It seems like, and so
God.
this is why you're looking at something that is not sincerely not normal, possibly supernatural, and so that's why I would ask for a 2-dice stress roll.
Okay, right. Let's do that then.
Annoyed. You suffer one die
fits.
penalty.
That fits.
Your next roll. That's it. So, what is your reaction to this?
I think she kind of looks at it and then just hands the quartz back to Vic. Thanks, and then just walks off.
You're welcome. Okay. Okay.
Is it
I'll deal with that when I get.
is it dead? How do
I
you even
haven't
check for a pulse?
checked.
How do you check pulse?
Turn it over and see what this is doing.
Dahlia will climb or like go to the side of the crayon and just try to easily tip it, roll it over.
What is life doing while this is happening?
Staring in horror at that scene.
Okay, did you get any closer to them, or are you still over by the control panel? It's kind of.
I'm still over by the control panel.
All right. So you turn the crayon over, and yeah. So what you're seeing here is it. So Vic was apparently at this factory as a child, perhaps taking a tour. Is that fair to say?
Yep.
So the employees that would come out to greet you would dress kind of like this. But this is kind of as though, so there was a big crayon costume, right?
Mhm.
This looks like the big purple crayon costume that they had back then. The problem is, this is also a crayon. Now, this is like an actual crayon that has perhaps looks as though it is crossed between person and crayon, an unholy crossing thereof, of human and crayon. At this realization, I would like you to roll 3 stress dice, please.
Me?
Yes.
Okay.
Having a little flashback right now.
3 of them. 1.
Okay, complete and total nuclear meltdown.
It is the number of skill die equal to the number of stress dice roll.
3.
Oh no! That's not good. That's not good at all.
That's not good.
So how do you react when you see this?
I scream.
Yeah.
That's okay. So there were costumes back when the factory was operating and stuff, and this is like a costume, but if it was also a crayon, and I don't like it, we should go.
What are you saying that? No, there's no way. Dahlia is going to abandon, like, pushing the crayon over, and she's going to walk back to where the crayon came from.
All right.
Completely confident. Does not believe Vic at all. Just
Sure.
there's no way.
So a couple of things are happening now. So Dahlia is, first of all, going to go into this sort of office area. In this back office area, there are several tables laid out. There's sort of a break room back here as well. and there are some computer terminals, old computer terminals. And on some of these tables, you see these large sort of boxes, these kind of that look like maybe giant molds of some kind that are sitting back here. Meanwhile, out on the factory floor, there is the burbling from the vat grows louder because it seems to be as though it's reactivating somewhat, except it's not moving any further down. The pouring hasn't started, but then you see this sort of mass of yellow come up out of it and pour down into the mold, into the molds that are on the on that part of the machine. That part of the machine is starting to operate as well. So what's everyone doing?
I don't see any other Crayon employees in here.
Not
I don't know what to call them.
directly.
I'm sorry, I'm super tempted to say I want to do a confessional.
So it's not pouring out, it's like kind of just bubbling out.
Yeah, because the vat itself stopped mid-turn.
Oh. Is it a haunted crayon?
Could be.
Maybe the work contracts had a haunting clause.
It does occur to you now that there were 7 other costumes.
There are 7 other crayon costumes, so we've taken care of one, and I don't know where the other ones are, and I don't really want to run into them.
I want to do a confessional.
Yes, feel free.
Oh God.
I think that's the moment where in the confessional, it's moved on from Dahlia just staring straight into the camera. And she says, unfortunately, I didn't hear what Vic was saying about the other costumes. And maybe I was going in a little blind, I do that sometimes. But, when I saw the other one standing there in the dark and the shadows, the other 7 of the... I didn't think anything of it until I noticed a couple of them were holding baseball bats, sort of like a Crayon Mafia kind of thing. And, don't think I've screamed so loud in my whole life.
And so it was that as we flip back, you notice that what in the corner, what looked like these just large model crayon type things, sort of over by the molds that I was talking about, that seemed about the size of the large costumes. You notice a couple of them just sort of come upright and reveal their arms. And they come forward, and one is holding a baseball bat. And then there's one holding a hammer. As the blue and green crayons begin approaching.
Dahlia will scream.
And I feel like this is another stress roll. Let me just check my trusty chart here. Yeah, I'd say you've seen one already, so I'm just going to keep this at 2 dice, two dice stress roll.
Okay.
And you can ignore. Remember, you've got a point of cool, so you can ignore the lowest result. So you're actually only at stressed right now.
Okay.
So you lose a die from an appropriate skill.
Okay. I think she would take it from... I'm going to take it from athletics. Because I think as Dahlia screams and turns to run, she trips over herself, over her own feet. And it slows her down running out of there.
Excellent. So yes, everyone has heard Dahlia scream from inside that room. What's everyone else doing?
I think that shakes us out of whatever conversation we were having. I think we were talking about, or Life was starting to ask, so are we liable for this crayon dying?
I don't want to think about that.
It was technically not alive, right? I mean,
I don't know how you define a living being. I'm not a scientist.
And then we hear the scream.
yeah.
Dahlia.
There's more of them.
I told you that.
I think like Fran is gonna have instinct takeover and like run towards where Dahlia is, laptop held high, like ready to bash another crayon.
All right, so Fran, you dive into that room, laptop held high. You see there are a couple of more of these things. There's a blue one and a green one. Dahlia has fallen to the floor. What do you do with your? What do you do there?
I try and run it head on
Excellent.
and like give it a good old laptop slap.
So you're using your
Slaptop.
laptop.
A slaptop.
So as you're trying to bash it with a laptop. So yes, we said that counts as a tech roll. So
This is why I bring it.
go ahead and roll tech, would you?
Right, I got 3 tech rolls. So it's the 3.
5. Good. Okay, you gain a franchise die. What happens when you whack at these couple of crayons?
Can I like? I assume they have facial appendages.
They do. They have faces. The
Okay,
crayons have
Whack
faces.
off its nose.
You knock some teeth out. Some
Yeah.
Ooh, some creepy human crayon teeth. Ew.
So you have flattened the face of the green one, and have knocked it back. What is it that you said happens to it aside from just you flatten its face or anything else?
The nose just flies off somewhere. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
the nose flies
I
off.
just want that to be
The
on the
wax
record.
nose goes flying, and green is just sort of thrown against the back wall and is marking it up. So let's see. What is Vic doing right now?
Vic has used one of the old newspapers to wipe some of the crayon blood off of Coast's piece of quartz, and is kind of like edging into the room like, hey, we should probably go in there.
and life is waving. No, I have an idea.
What's your
Lead them
idea?
here. Lead them here.
Okay.
And I'm skating over toward where the hot bubbling
Wax is. Yeah.
wax is.
Yeah.
And the idea basically is lead them here, and I'm gonna pitch over those wax containers to hopefully melt them away.
Hopefully.
Or create something disastrous.
We don't know. Yeah, we'll find out.
I'm trying to find crayons in my box of crayons to represent all the terrible, terrible creatures. So I have the ones that we've killed.
Well, okay then.
I've got 3 others.
Oh,
I've got
good.
black, yellow, and red, and I'm missing 3. So I'm missing like purple and 2 other colors.
Okay.
I don't keep crayons, so also join you, but
I love Elle's use of props every time.
10 out
Oh,
oh, you found
Right.
purple.
So is Vic doing that? Is Vic running in and doing that, or what?
Oh. Elle's
yeah.
bad
Vic is gonna run in and just kind of start waving Coast's arms around like, "Hey, over here! I'm a human being who you can attack. I'm invading your sacred space of the factory."
All right, make a contact roll for me, please.
I'm a human being. I love it.
Yes, we are having contact right now. I have 2.
So
5.
you need to roll the the skill tip.
Oh, God dang it.
Okay, bad.
Also bad.
So something bad happens. What bad thing do you think happens as a result of this?
I think that I trip on the same thing. Somebody else tripped, right?
Me, I did.
Yeah, Dahlia did.
Yeah,
There's wax on the floor, as it turns out.
yeah, I trip on the same thing that Dahlia did, and I just kind of I just absolutely eat it.
Okay, so you trip and
All
you skid,
over.
and this big blue crayon is starting to approach and is trying to get at the rest of you. I will say, no one seems to be coming out of there immediately. Are you just going to keep hanging by the vats, or are you doing anything else?
No, because I was kind of trying to pay attention of Cole would get them out of there and into position. And as I see Cole fall, I think just gonna barrel in and tackle Blue Crayon.
Okay, you grab a barrel. No, let me ask you something. When you say, okay, let me make sure I understand. When you say barrel, are you talking about barreling forward as in moving quickly, or are you talking about grabbing a physical barrel?
No, as in moving quickly
Okay.
and actually checking.
Okay.
Crane.
I only asked because there are barrels here, so I just wanted to make sure I knew what we were doing. Okay, so you're like skating forward. I think this is an athletics roll.
Yep.
And remember, we still have all these dice. If you wish to use any of these dice.
Yeah, let's use a jump card die here. So that would make it 3.
I'll go ahead and break that away. 6, amazing. So you're going to get 2 franchise dice off this. So we are almost at achieving the mission.
And I think what I do is how many? Well, I think I actually grab hold of blue and of orange as well. And I'm still skating with them.
The orange one hadn't even woken up yet, but it is now. There was blue, there was green that's kind of now back against the wall, sort of marking it up and having trouble getting up. But now there's also an orange that you've got. So you've got blue and orange.
Yeah, and actually, I want to throw them into the
vat.
Yeah.
All right. You skate forward. You toss them forward into this vat where they're plunging in, and you hear.
I think I'm making brown.
God damn it.
So the green one is starting to kind of regain it. The faceless green one is starting to kind of regain its footing, and it's like sort of having trouble getting around. We're gonna come back to Dahlia. What are you doing?
I think Dahlia is going to be making her way to her feet, and picking up what Vic was doing. She's gonna start yelling the same thing, come this way, because I think she would put it together to try to boil these fuckers.
Excellent.
She's trying to lure them onto the factory floor.
Okay, so you're just sort of saying, come this way. Okay,
Yeah.
So make a contact roll for me, please.
Okay, I think I have 4 contact. Yeah, I'm very good at contact. A 5.
Okay, 5. Good. And you're getting your final franchise die here, so this will solve it. What happens?
Yeah, I think that Life left the vat already in the process of tipping as he ran, skated in to attack those. So the ones that she gets the attention of that come out there, she's going to finish the job, pushing the vat over to pour out all this wax to melt them.
Excellent. So yes, finally the vat finishes tipping over as you sort of toss green in there as well, and this comes out to a just sort of strange, sort of brownish color. as it melts out onto the into the mold area and just sort of splashes all over it because it's not really it's not really set up properly. And there is now wax everywhere. But the crayons are no more.
Dahlia's just standing there beside the vat, just. I never liked arts and crafts.
I think that's perfect.
Yeah. So congratulations, you have vanquished the crayon golems that were active in this factory, and we have the we have basic quick end game stuff going on. A thing that I like to do is do little quick mini confessionals that don't actually do. It's not a plot thing so much, but just sort of at the end of each mission to sort of find out what each of the characters is thinking at this point after it gets solved, and an opportunity to button it and say more of what happens in the following days. So I think we're going to go around and do that, and then we'll do the vacation mechanic, which we can either do here or off or off in between in terms of determining what we do with all those dice. Let's see. I think I will start with let's start with Matthias. Let's start with life. What if we were to give a quick vignette from you on of being sort of the post interview for this? What would we see?
So yeah, that was that. I mean, we did have to do some cleaning up. We had to call in the toxic waste removal. It was really a peculiar color. Yeah. The site is now closed off. And I hope the problem's dealt with. So I did get to save a little bit and like hold up like a translucent tub of brown wax.
Oh my god!
It's like boop, boop,
excellent,
bubbling on its own a little bit.
Delightful. I approve of this. And now let us move on to Vic.
I used to like the old crayon factory. You know, we went there when we were kids. Like, that was our field trip from like kindergarten to 5th grade. That was 6 years of going to visit the old crayon factory. And now I have to get rid of all the crayons that I saved because they're just going to remind me of being attacked by a giant crayon golem. I don't like it.
And the post-session confessional button for Dahlia.
You know, when I saw it moving in the window, I just thought it was a trick of the eye. Maybe like blood loss or early onset tetanus or something. I don't know. Yeah, I'm never gonna get the wax off these shoes. Just not going to. Yeah.
Early onset tetanus. I love
Awesome. And finally, the and friend, the final little bit of when they put the camera on you afterward. What do you say?
Well, I'd say I killed a man, but I think I killed a crayon tonight instead. I don't know how to feel about that. Am I a murderer?
It's an excellent question. Is crayon death true death? Delightful. All right.
Blood is on my hands.
Like it's like Lady Macbeth, but with crayon wax.
Waxed out.
Out, damn wax. Oh, God. Excellent. So, do we want to handle the? Do we want to go ahead and go through the vacation mechanic, or do you want to handle that between sessions?
What's the vacation mechanic?
I've got time to
I've got
do.
time now,
I think otherwise I'll forget.
Yeah,
Okay.
we should go ahead and do it right now.
So this is a short thing. Just basically, if you're suffering from stress-related penalty, you can now get back some or all of your skill dice by removing dice from the bank or by spending the franchise dice you earned at the end of your mission. One die restores 1 point to a skill. If you're still stressed and you have no bank dice to spend, you must spend your own pool dice. If you have nothing left, you're screwed for the time being until your stress penalties stick around for the next game session. Let's breathe and start chewing those antacids. And so this is basically and so you do something to sort of rest between things to try to come back to us. So let's see, how did we, how are we on stress right now?
I'm missing 3 dice.
Okay.
Yeah, that hit Vic hard.
Okay, you're missing 3. Anyone else missing dice?
I'm missing 1, but
Just
I can do
one.
it. So
Yeah, I can do without mine.
So let's see. Yeah, it says, let's see, it says you can. So yeah, if you want to hold on to it, yeah, I don't see why not. So that'll use up 3 of your mission dice that you got. Do we feel there was, do we want to award the additional die for mission die for role-playing curiosity from Francesca?
I think France stayed out of everything.
Yeah.
It does kind of feel.
I wasn't curious. I just whacked things around the head.
Yeah.
This is fair. All right. So
Vicious, yes.
So if you're holding on to your stress, I'm completely fine by that. But it's a downward spiral, of course. So we've got 5 mission dice that you can then assign to these cards, or the bank, or if you want, we can just keep them as unused.
well,
We haven't really been using our cards.
yeah.
There was like 1 use of them thus far. But I mean, that's...
I think I'd like to have at least 2 dice in all of them,
Yeah.
just because that seems like, just in case, and then the remaining 3 we set aside for a rainy day.
I'm cool with that.
Agree.
All right. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and keep these down here, and I will convert these into the ones that we know and love, and yeah, that will do it. So there we are, another successful day at the office.
Yeah.
Vic takes a few days off and just kind of brings all the old newspapers with Kos and just does old crossword puzzles
In
for
crayon?
like 3 days.
In crayon, right? In crayon.
No, not in
No,
crayon.
not
All
in
my
crayon.
crayons are getting donated to the local preschool.
Okay, that was
But
so
thankfully-
good.
But thankfully, we no longer have to worry about a repeat of the cat run of 2014.
Yep.
It's true.
It's true.
Save the city once more.
Just thankless. No one will ever know. Okay, folks. Yeah, that was another session of Inspectors. Great session. We can go around and remind everyone who we are. You have any plugs, anything you're doing, feel free. We'll start with Jim.
Hey, well, thanks very much. I appreciate your having me back to continue with this thing. I love this game, and I love these players. This is really good. I'm very much enjoying the character interaction here, and I think we're getting into it. This is gonna be a lot of fun as we continue. This is I'm really pleased to get the opportunity to do an actual campaign of Inspectors and see what it comes to over multiple sessions. So I think that's going to be really cool. I'm very much looking forward to that. As for me, I am Jim Ryan. I am OtherDoc on both Twitch and Twitter, OTHERDOC. My website is jimyesthatjim.com, where you can find links to my various projects and game signups for stuff going on my channel. Speaking of my channel, right now we have on Sundays I'm doing one-shots. The one coming up this Sunday will be Everyone is John. We're doing a second one of those, hopefully, which is everyone's playing the same character. It's hilarious. They vie for control. And I've got right now signups open for that one still, and for the other stuff that I've got going on this month, trying to get a game of Durance going on Thursdays for it'll be the last 3 weeks of June. I'm pushing it back a little bit because we need more people. So if anyone's interested in possibly playing a game about a story game about the struggle between convicts and authority on a distant prison planet in the far future, check that out. Check out the sign up form. Just go to jimyesthatjim.com, click on game sign up, and go click through. There's more info there. Thanks very much for having me, Katie. I appreciate it.
I love it. I'm glad you're running this for us. Matthias.
Hi, I'm Matthias. You can find me on Twitter at mthsblgr. And yes, I'm looking forward to finding out who's the puppet master who's been pulling these crayon strings that they even awoke in the first place, right?
It's Stahl. It's the old man.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun, and I really like the suggestive mechanics you have access to as a player as well, and trying to come up with solutions that just further the narrative and get you those franchise dice. Yeah, you can find me. So yeah, I actually have a lot this time. On Thursday, starting on off_the_table, Sun Gohona, I'll return. So it's one game on Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific, and the other on Friday, 4 p.m. Pacific. And on Saturday, I'm starting over on Analysis channel, my 4-part of Burning Wheel. So come check that out. And after that, on Saturday, I'm going to be back here again, right? If I remember correctly, that's for our first game in our Summer of Spook series. And yes, that's it for this week. Next week, then I've got one. Also, yes, this is the reason I can't sign up for Durance on Jim's channel on Thursdays, but I would love to, so you have to go ahead and do that because it's a really good game. I'm envious of those of you who can sign up for that.
Sophie.
Yeah, I'm Sophie. I really enjoyed this game. I like this game. And I'm enjoying finding out who Fran is, that she's like the normal one. I think that's normal murderer, yeah.
Yeah, normal people totally don't have last names. Yeah.
She's more normal than the rest of you lot. Anyway. Yeah, I'm Sophie. I've been a bit off the internet lately because I've had so much uni work. I'm on to my last module though, as of today. So I'm like, yes, one more month. And yeah, this week I will be back to streaming on my channel on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Gonna get back into that again. And where am I this week? Tomorrow I'm Capricorn Cross's channel for Cassistrad by the book. Yeah, Wednesday and Thursday on my channel. And yes, this Saturday we have the Burning Wheel. I need to make my character. I mean, I put it off for a little bit because I had the uni work, but we're gonna get on that this week, I hope. And yeah, that's basically it for my week. Yeah, let's see if I'm see my Twitter for if I spontaneously do things.
What about you, Elle?
Okay, you can find me on Twitter at Occasional L. On Thursday, you can find me running Dungeon World at 6 p.m. Eastern at twitch.tv/harpydora. At some time on Sunday, you can find me playing Masks at twitch.tv/roll4change. Non-binary people in TTRPG month is coming up. That's August. Follow non-binary TTRPGM on Twitter for updates on that. I'm making a collection on itch.io of games made by non-binary people, and I have over 100 of them right now. So there are choices to be had. My games are in there also. if you want to scroll through 100 games.
I'm Katie. You found me. We're good. We'll be back here in a couple of hours for another session of Monster of the Week, City's Edge. Tomorrow we'll be back for some more masks of season 2 of Planned Obsolescence. That's a word. Wednesday I don't have any. I'm free. Nothing happening Wednesday. Thursday, like Mattia said, Sanguijuela's coming back. But with new characters and in the past, and I'm very excited to play this character. I love her so much. So, Saturday, also the very first Summer of Spooks session. I will be running Summer in Woodlake for some great people. I'm very excited to run that. And also, if Simon's Transformer doesn't explode again, I'll be on Wandering DM that morning playing some Call of Cthulhu. Hopefully no more explosions. But yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed this. I enjoyed playing it. I love having you all around. And we will see you all later. Bye.